What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast, the podcast that you guys haven't heard of for what, like the last year, Dan? Has it been a year?
And the tragic how long we've been gone, but we're back.
I have no clue. But we are trying to come back. I'm not, we're trying to make this consistent, but I've said that in the past, so I'm not a person to say I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna keep lying about it. But regardless, we've got a new member on the podcast here today. Michael, what's going on?
Yo, what is good, guys? Glad to be a part of this. I'm pretty hyped.
So Michael's our boy. As you guys know, it's been me and Dan. But in terms of our little Digi community, me, Mike, and Dan have been like the essentially the three musketeers.
Anyway, boy, don't forget our little clique, according to people.
True.
All right, yes. The clique. We are the clique. Along with our boy Mark, who plays 1001 games, and shout out to Mark. But so we decided to bring Mike on the podcast because it's nice having a third point of view, and also this kind of leads into not only where we've been, but what our goals are. So like one of the things that I love content creation. I love doing this podcast. I just don't have time, right? And I think the same goes for both Dan and Mike. Mike's always traveling for work. Dan just started his new job. Dan's getting life going. Life's just busy all around for us. But I figure if we can distribute the workload between the three of us, between podcasting and YouTube, then it works out, because it's not always just one person putting in all the work, because we all like it. We all like Digimon, we like card games, and there's a lot of information that we all want to share with you, the community, and other people. And honestly, we just want our voices to be heard. You're gonna hear us talk about some polarizing stuff today. Bands, Black or Gray X.
We're fighting those bands.
So that's where we've been at, what we're looking forward to, why you're hearing from us after such a long hiatus. This podcast will be going up on Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever other platform I put it up on that I don't remember. But I also will be putting it up on YouTube in some way, shape, or form. Don't know how I'm going to do that, but we shall do it. But yeah, that's us. So Mike, since you're the newest one here, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your Digi ventures.
Yeah, what's up, guys? So I've been playing Digimon for, I don't know, 2-ish years, a year and a half now, 2 years almost. Dan introduced me to the game a while back. We used to play a different card game together.
Welcome.
Much worse card game called Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Bad times, good times. You know the vibes. I love Digimon, man. I grew up with it. Love playing this card game. Man, I guess I should talk about some of my favorite decks. Probably some decks people do not like. Imperial. Love Imperial. People hate blue. I get it. Dark Knightmon. Probably best deck in the format. I don't care what anyone says. It's a goated deck.
Buddy.
Goated deck. Goated. Let's see. Lots of red. Greymon Tribal was like my thing for a long time.
One thing we'll tell you guys about Mike right from the door.
Here we go.
Mike loves jank, right? But once jank becomes good, it's no longer jank.
He drops
it off. And therefore, Mike drops it like a bad habit.
Yeah.
What deck did Michael build going into BT9, Dan?
With Dark Knightmon, and then he was scared that it was going to be really good.
No, forget about Dark Knightmon. He built Melga.
Yes, that too.
It was Melga. He got everything. He got all the arts. He was like, I'm hype. I'm gonna play Melga. Everybody's been sleeping on this deck.
Little did he know that deck was gonna be the dominating force. It is.
That first tournament came around. It had like 50% of the tops or whatever. He was like, well, I don't want to play this anymore.
Bro, he dropped that shit like a bad habit.
So, Greymon Tribal for Mike right now. it's about to not be in a good spot come BT12.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they just make cards too good. What can I say? I don't know. I don't hate playing meta. I mean, I guess I do. It's just I feel like when I play meta, I'm like cheating myself sometimes. I don't know. I mean, I like the decks. I like things that are broken, but sometimes it gets a little too much for me. Like I like to play the jank. I like to like Digimon's an interesting card game because in its current state, no matter what anybody says, any deck can win a tournament. Maybe
Sure.
you're not you're not winning. You might not win nationals with jank, right? But you can top. You can get there.
Hey, I mean, I'm with you there. Like, as much as I could have secured my invite to nationals many times over the last 6-7 months, just by playing Melga, because Dan and I have this reoccurring thing that whenever I play Melga in testing, I never brick, and even when I do brick, there's no such thing as a brick because I can play out of my brick. And even in our early testing of Melga versus Black War Gray, like a lot of people are like, Melga gets bodied by Black War Gray. It's not entirely true. It's probably Dan, like 70-30 in Black War Gray's favor for general.
Yeah, something like
but
that.
More like 60-40 if you know how to play.
Right.
But
in our testing, you got everything and literally just bodied the crap out of me for it. So like, it's very, very possible if you get all your pieces and you know how to play the deck well, you can still get W's. I wouldn't be surprised if there's Melga tops and Nats.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think people are definitely still going to play the deck. A lot of people are going to be Black or Gray, but the thing coming down to Nats is always going to be we're getting BT11 2 weeks I think before Nats officially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the set, or obviously everybody who's been going to Nats, they've been testing with proxies like Dan and I have been. I'm not going. That's another story. The
unfortunateness.
Dan secured his invite to nationals with the store champ dub with D Reaper, right? Was it D Reaper?
I sure did. Yes, I did.
It was
we
D
talked
Reaper
about it on the pod back then. I think we did.
I don't think we did.
Was it right before? I don't know.
I think it was right after. But either way, he got the dubs. Michael secured his dub to nationals.
I did. I got my dub. I went undefeated with Dark Nightmon, which is probably my favorite deck. It went really well. I actually had a great time getting that store champ win.
Yeah.
And we accidentally fumbled the bag. Back when
tell the story, Mike. Tell the story correct, Mike.
I'm telling the story, then. Don't worry, buddy. Back when Bandai sent out the list to make sure everyone's Bandai ID was on the correct list and their name was on it to verify that your invite was accepted. I think I was driving or traveling. Dan will say I was too lazy to take a look at the list. But he confirmed for me and said my name was on there. I said, all right, cool. And, a few months go by and it's time to, pay the money for the tournament and get registered or whatever. And I was not accepted because I guess my name was never actually on that original list. I went back and double checked and my Bandai ID was not on there. So I tried to reach out to the tournament organizers, but unfortunately, it just couldn't happen. It was too late. So I subsequently got my Storm Championship invite and lost it.
You fumbled it away.
So let me tell the correct story here. All right?
How is that not the guy? Whatever. Go ahead.
I did not know what his nickname is, nor his ID. I asked him, is it Mike? Because there was multiple Mikes and there was multiple Mike Store Championship winners. He was like, I think so. And I was like, yo, check your ID thing. And you're like, I can't right now. So I was like, I don't know what it is, but I can guess it's Mike or Formato, which is his last name, which he uses as his nickname currently for his Bandai TCG. And that was not on it, so I went with Mike, and Mike was on it. So I was like, there's a couple Mikes. I think yours is on it, but
You're
I don't know. You
probably
should
one of
check.
those Mike.
You should check later if you can. He was like, yeah, I should be fine. I'm like, all right. And that's how it went. I also checked for our other friend who was going. His name is what's his YouTube
PG?
again?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
No counters, no combos.
Yeah.
It is
Our boy
Adrian for all you Dragon Ball fans.
Yeah, he converted to the Digimon side. Good job. Let me stop. But I checked for him and his was on it because he told me what his nickname was. And I checked for me because at that time we wasn't sure, so I was on the list. So I guessed it was Mike. And we never confirmed afterwards.
Yeah. So
It is what it is.
whoopsies. It's what it is. I'm still debating
Mike, you
going
can still
or
go.
not. Yeah, I'm still
You can
debating. The
still go.
side events look really cool, actually.
Well, you can do the LCQs as well.
The LCQs, and it's like almost unlimited LCQs. It's like as much until either it caps or the 1052 for the next day caps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a chance. You just gotta get first place in one of the small pods.
I'm definitely debating it, that's for sure.
Well, there's no debate. You should just go. You got to represent at least 2/3 of the DigiPod. You know,
you could
spread
come
the.
too, Varni.
I would,
Yeah,
but
man.
you see, there has been a lot. Ever since the new year started, bro, I've been getting bodied financially.
I feel.
Tragic.
I had to fix my truck. That was like $2,000. I had to fix my BMW. That was like $500. My bank account the other day said, "Hey, remember all those bills you scheduled? Yeah, I don't have enough money for all those bills you scheduled," and decided to overdraft my account an obnoxious sum, which I now have to replenish to our savings.
Oh.
So
Ooh.
I was going to go until all that stuff compounded, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm not going. It's a good thing I didn't get my nationals invite, because then I would have been tight. Speaking of national invites, so I'm not going, obviously, for that, but also, so Dan, what was it, an Ultimate Cup last year with Alphamon, or was it a regionals? I feel like it was a regional, right?
Regionals.
So last year, I don't remember. It's been so long. I don't remember how much I talked about Alphamon on the podcast. But I was a really big fan of Alphamon. I still am. I love Alphamon. I think we talked about my losing my Alphamon deck at Otakon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably talked about that. And if you didn't know, I'm a dumbass, and I lost my Alphamon deck at Otakon Ultimate Cup or regionals, whatever it was. It was supposed to be PPG. This was back in like August. So just a note for you guys: if you ever go to an IRL event, like a big IRL event, make sure when you get up from the table, you take all your belongings with you. Do not leave it anywhere. Pack it away in your bag. Make sure you got everything, because if you are like me, you will lose your most prized possession, which at the time was a almost complete max rarity Alphamon deck and this lovely Gallantmon playmat, along with an aluminum deck box. And if you are somebody who happens to be listening to the podcast or knows somebody who found this deck and you know, whatever, whatnot, and so forth, I hope you are having fun with it. Truly, I'm past it. You know, I hope that you got the deck and that you've been slapping people up with it. I hope you're doing good with it. I hope that deck box serves you good. Everything was pretty nice. You know, hold that stuff in memory of me. But that's besides the point. So, the community at Gamers Edge in Stroudsburg is great. So many people helped me rebuild this Alphamon deck, gave me some alt arts and everything. And I went back and I max rated the deck again. I placed like somewhere between 50 and 64 with Alphamon in the regionals. I can't remember the exact placing. It was either 53, 54, 63, or 64. I remember 3 and 4. Obviously, at the time, the only deck I think I really lost to was Melga. I think I pretty much bodied everything else that came in my way. The funniest part about that is, so like that was the month that we had like event after event after event. I was feeling really good going into my next 2 events, and Alphamon just said, nah, buddy. I completely wiped out of both events that I participated after that top. I did really bad. Like, I was nowhere near going to place top 64 or 128, I think. So after that, I got really upset with the deck and held on to it for a while. But after max rating it, felt bad. I ended up trading it for a Mastimon deck. That was max rating. So that was cool. That was nice. Got that done. And since then, I had been playing. What did I play for Store Championship? I don't remember the first one. Oh, yeah, that's right. No, it also dumped me in Store Championship. Yeah, that's right. Because my first Store Championship I went to with it, I got bodied by Melga. And I was like, son of a gun. I hate this. I know it's a winnable matchup, but, you know, when Melga comes out and Melga can just ramp you, there's nothing you can do about it. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. And the second Store Championship that Mike ended up winning, I placed second at, or I think I tied for second. Don't remember.
No,
I was
when he says placed second, I mean, it's really, he should have placed lower, honestly. He barely finished one of his matches.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Shots fired.
Y'all know I hate play. You know, I hate slow play. I don't play slow. I should have been on the ball, but it is what it is. I was playing some Venusmon, Sakuyamon shenanigans at the time. I wrote a Reddit post about it. You might have seen me around on Reddit. I'm Ivy Tech Boy in PA. I wrote a big article about it and everything. So yeah, you know, if you feel like looking it up, you can do that. I'm the only one who's written a deck profile on Venusmon, so it's pretty easy to find. Outside of that, ever since then, I've been focusing on Examon, because who doesn't like big freaking dragon Royal Knight boss monster that forces you to attack and then just obliterates your life, right? I think last regional, yeah, it was a regional, I also placed 63rd with Examon. So got close, ended up losing out to Bloomlord, BL Star, and I think it was 2 Bloomlords and a BL Star I lost to. All were very winnable matchups. I've won against BL Star before. Just is unfortunate when you don't see your pieces, which happens more often than I can say, with all my decks that I play. Super unfortunate stuff. But that's that. That's where we've all been at. That's what we've all been up to. So with all that out of the way, I think now is like the perfect time to start touching on, what are we going to be expecting at Nationals? We already said that, we expect Melga to top. We expect Blackwork Ray to field a lot of, representation. But, last year going into Nationals, we got Classic Collection. I think it was supposed to be a month or like 2 months before, because it was supposed to be in December. So it was supposed to be like a month before, but we actually, NA ended up getting it pretty much like a week or two before Nationals, which was super unfortunate. We went into Nationals with Gobblebond being able to play 4 Ice Wall completely unrestricted. I think that was the only card that got hit on that ban, right?
Crazy.
Or,
yes.
Or did they hit Reinforcing at the same time?
I think at that same time, Ice Wall was hit. That would be X2. Did we also get MDF hit right then as well? Or is that when they released that?
That was after.
Okay.
That was on the onset of hybrids, yeah. So going into BT6, we all knew Gobblebond was going to be the most represented deck because it was just super oppressive, super powerful, quick, and could smack you up real easy, and great defensive capability with 4 Ice Walls that can be stacked upon one another. Now going into Nationals, we know we're getting BT11. The presumed best deck in the format is going to be Black War Greymon X. Dan, you've been testing this deck. Tell us how you feel about it.
My baby. That's what I think about it. Love the deck. The deck is super powerful, super strong. You can board control or be super aggro. It depends on how you're feeling. It depends on your matchup. I think it's a great deck. What else?
What do you think it?
Pretty favorable matchups against probably every deck except 2 decks.
That's what I was. That was my next question. So, go ahead, elaborate.
The 2 decks that I won't say it's favorable to is Grandis Because we all know what Grandis does, right? You build a giant stack in raising, you raise, you Digivolta Grandis effect. Well, before you do that, right, you go Grand Quagga, Digiburst everything, so you can swing for a lot of checks. Grandis forces your Black or Greymon X to suspend, so now you can't block or anything, and then they just swing over for 18k, piercing plus 3 checks on suspend swing again, right? So that's why that's like one of the harder matchups. The other hard matchup that we've come to find out, Jessamon somehow. Jessamon hasn't done anything
Somehow.
for the last while because people hyped it up for BT10 because we thought it was gonna be really good. And I would say, I think y'all will agree with me when I say it kind of flopped in the hype sense
Yeah, it
of
felt
what
it
it
felt a
did.
little
Like,
short, I think. But I
right.
also think it's like when you look at Japan, right? Like Japan didn't have Melga running around, and Melga
Yes.
just
True.
bounces so many low level Digimon, so it was able to just bounce Sistermon. So I think that
But
definitely.
I also think that it's just so fast in comparison to Jessamon sometimes. Like, even if
Yeah.
Jessamon does the whole, wombo combo, a lot of times they're giving you like 5 memory. 5 memory from Melga who might have a cool boy on board. Yeesh.
Yep. Well,
That's
that, and even if they haven't, like, even if Jesmon is doing good and building and they're not bricking or something, which is, yeah, it's Jesmon. You're still,
They're right.
presumably on
It's
your
a red
board,
deck.
one of its advantages is that it's going to be able to have Sistermon on the field, probably
right.
before, so you're going to have a Digimon advantage on field, but Melga just does not care. Melga's like, oh,
Right.
cool, you played something that's like a level 5 or lower, like, get that out of my face. Like, literally.
Yeah, definitely because of all their effects to balance the hand.
Yeah.
And also everyone minimum has one Dex and on deck, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're
Well,
playing Dexmon for arguably 3 at times against that deck, and once it happens, it's kind of GG.
kind
Yeah.
of GG.
Kind of
Yeah.
GG, yeah.
I'd say
Sometimes you can come back from it.
depending on the state of the board,
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
But
tough.
yeah, it is. So in future matchups, when we're talking about BT11 back to Black or Greymon, because Black or Greymon is a 1 stack deck. Jesmon can swing at it for like 20k with GX at times because it has the effect to attack over unsuspended Digimon. So that becomes a problem for Black or Greymon X also to deal with.
Yeah, that's definitely two big things. I think another problem, so like in terms of like the tiers, right? When we talk about if we talk about Black or Gray being the king of the meta, the tier 1 decks to go up against Black or Gray are going to be Jesmon and Grandis. No shot.
Man, why are we telling people the secrets? We shouldn't be telling people about Jesmon.
I know, right? It's like we're not for the community or anything, bro.
Dan's like every single matchup in nationals is just gonna be like Jesmon Grandis, Jesmon.
Yo, facts.
You know what the funniest thing is?
Us.
We Dan and I were talking about it. Dan was like, you know what? Maybe I should just play Jesmon. But we both agreed what's going to happen if Dan plays Jesmon, he will never play Black or Gray, and he'll play every other matchup.
The funniest thing,
because
the reason why
immediately and get paired well. He'll play
exactly
paired with people that don't even play like Black or Gray.
The funniest about that joke though, right? We were playing our locals last weekend, and me and Varni got paired up, and I'm playing a jank deck. I'm playing a Fish Swarm, Aegis Dramon, deck, whatever you want to call it. And I literally quickly 2-0'd Yavarni, who was playing Jessamon. I'm talking about quick, fast, and a hurry. I was like, damn, we got like 40 minutes to go. Like, and that's why I don't want to play Jessamon, because I'm reverse a deck that's like that or something. Not Fish Swarm, but something that's not like expected. And it's gonna get smacked for some odd reason.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what happened to me last year at Nationals. I got so afraid of playing Secon because of BL Star, because it was running rampant at the time. I never, ever played BL Star. I played everything but, and I was so pissed because with the amount of Gobblebon that I played, SecCon would have had a field day. Like, it just, you got to go with your heart at the end of the day, you know? Go with
I
what
agree.
you like.
I think
And-
as someone who's been playing like Black World Greymon since day one of Black World Greymon, I gotta stick with it to the end. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
I gotta go with it when it's super busted.
I mean, I'd punch you if you didn't. Like, you were waiting
Hey, I
for
thought
this.
about.
Yeah, I
Three
mean, I'd
sets in the
say
making.
it's a pretty good deck. Yeah, no,
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Right.
I don't, it's okay.
Pretty decent.
I mean, I started
Hades
playing
force, you know?
Machine Dramon for it because Machine Dramon gets some good support.
mean, I don't know. It's tough. It's good.
It is tough.
Good deck. It's gonna, I think that's a deck that might steal some wins. Maybe
Of
top.
course.
Agreed.
We really don't know how Black War Gray is gonna do until it's actually here, right? Like,
Yeah, and the first event
I
to
agree.
test that is going to be Nationals.
yeah,
Literally,
which is crazy. So,
crazy to think of.
yeah,
crazy.
So,
I
like,
mean, if you really had to take a look and think about all of the decks that have come out, all of the meta decks that have come out of Japan, and maybe the last 5 or 6 sets. How many times have you seen a deck in Japan and been like, that deck is so strong, and then it gets here and it is just not the same thing in our meta?
Gababon,
With Jesmon BT6, right? 7?
Gababon, Jespon, Yellow Hybrid, Blue Hybrid.
Jesmon.
I'll be honest, Alphamon. I know that deck was going crazy.
I think the problem with Alphamon is not Alphamon the deck. It's just Alphamon in a best of 1 versus best of 3.
yeah,
I think it's also Alphamon in a situation where they had Yellow Hybrid running around and we didn't.
Ooh,
I think
yeah.
it is, right?
correct.
Like
Did
our
we get
ban
a
list.
hit before then? Yes, because that's why I was playing Alphamon
Right.
in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's just
Our
so
ban list
interesting.
at that time was different. Go ahead.
No, it's so interesting how sometimes our metas can be so different, and and a lot of that though is also based off of when they choose to do bannings here. I mean, look at Shoutmon here, right? Like,
Jeez.
Our
got
poor boy.
murdered.
That's
What- I
another.
Can we,
Yeah, I mean
That's
that-
another
give a
cringe
moment of
deck.
silence? Can we give a moment of silence for Shaman real quick?
Nah, that deck's still strong. I mean, I'm playing it. I just whooped on Varney with it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Ooh.
playing it because you think it's jank right now, but like you're gonna get
Right,
cross
exactly.
7 next set, and you're gonna be like, "Damn, this is too good. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
play
too
this
good. I gotta
anymore."
stop. Alright, it's a bad joke. I'm gonna play the deck. I really like Megazords and Gundams, so I need to play the deck. But yeah, I mean, I'm also still gonna keep playing Imperial 17 sets after it was released, and that deck is it's seen better days.
It's seen better days.
Only because other decks have finally, matched the power of Imperial. It's still,
It wasn't even
decent.
the best deck in the format. It was.
stop it. It definitely
It
was.
wasn't. It was not.
No, it's funny because it really wasn't. It never won any event.
No, it's
It
fine.
only ever topped. It had high representation, but it never turned out into wins.
It's because Hybrid was still running around.
Yeah, it
Hybrid
was
decks.
blue and yellow hybrids that was running the show.
Yep. Yep. So it wasn't even the
Unfortunate.
best deck in its format.
Yeah, rip our boy and girl Tommy and Jet Sylphie.
Although, I mean that deck. I mean, not to say that the deck isn't strong. That deck was super powerful. So.
I mean, you should know. You did it in our 3v3.
Oh,
Yes.
God. Oh man.
For those-
Man, we could have topped that.
I think we talked about that one, right?
Yeah,
That was
you
that
guys-
first regionals. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys talked about that. Yeah, if anyone has been a long time listener to the show, I am the guy who had God Hand Imperial first swing check the hammer.
Oh
start.
man.
And then the other match I
GG.
lost was other match I lost was going up against Alphamon. By the way, BT8 Alphamon, not BT9 Alphamon. This is like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
jank, this is like jank X antibodies still. This is before we had like crazy Alphamon combo. I had another God Hand. I was like, this is like a turn 1 win for me. And first check, Breath of the Gods got GG'd hard. I think the next turn he just like straight up Alphamon comboed me so hard with like 4 security checks. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. So bad luck. I think I probably would you guys say I have the worst luck in Digimon?
Yeah.
I'd say it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
That
you do.
is. He has the worst luck
Hey.
facing stuff. I have the worst luck with my own security.
Yeah, nothing could be worse than what I dealt with at Otakon.
Oh man.
Yo, that was just awful. The RNG gods was not with me at all.
You gotta
That's
shuffle better,
like-
bro.
That is really how
Like, I
Digimon is, though.
Like I legit versus a Melga player who had no protection with a basic 6k promo Wergaroo swing, hits a 5k champion, swings again, hits another 5k champion, digivolves, hits 8 to like a 7k something, or it's like it was always 1k higher. I was like, this is not possible. I go and raise. I swing with a Metal Greymon X because I only had a Metal Greymon X as I was bricking too. Not just with bad security, I was also bricking, no megas. And I swing with an 11.
I think you're just bad at the game. I'll be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. I swung with an 11k metal 11k Metal Greymon X, and hit into a 12k Melga. I was just like, yeah, this is just how it is. BG's for
Yeah.
me.
There ain't nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, God was not
Now-
on your side, dude.
Oh, that day, absolutely not.
I don't know.
I versed an Alphamon player. I had everything to go for game. I never saw a Metal Greymon X to go for the game. It was just like, it was such a bad day. It was a bad day at the office. That's all it was.
Oh yeah, the power of God and anime were not on your side that day, dude. It is
Never, never.
that, though. So, but speaking of, I know before I was talking about Shoutmon and how it got hit like so abruptly for the states. What do we think about Black War Greymon? You guys think that is gonna get a hit? There's been a lot of spicy talk about that amongst.
Okay, so let me say something first. I don't know for anybody who's on the Facebook group. I don't know like how serious half of these people are because honestly, like at a certain point, I just feel like you have to be a troll. There's no way. Because I feel like there's just no way there can be this many whiners, complainers, and frankly, just pussies out there. But I know that there are.
Yo.
I'm sorry. I had to put it out there. Like, y'all will see me in comments every day on these whiny posts. Like, that's just how bad it is.
Before this goes any further, I need y'all to know that before this podcast started, I was like, "Oh, did we curse on here and stuff?" He was like, "Nah, I try not to." And this dude just comes out.
Hey.
He just came at
dropping
everyone.
bombs.
It's funny.
It's
Wow.
different. It's different than saying some of the words that we probably shouldn't. But
Okay.
it's a little bit tempered. I tempered myself.
All right.
I respect.
That's a little hard word. That's a harsh one right there, though.
It is, but it's true. Like every day.
I agree. I mean, so
I don't disagree.
Here's the problem, right? And we've had a lot of talks about this. The Digimon community has created its own toxic meta in a way, in my opinion, at least.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
They've like all of the decks, like, all right, besides Blue Hybrid, I'll be honest, that deck needed to go. Blue Hybrid was awful. I don't care what anyone says, that deck was actually toxic. But like things like Yellow Hybrid, like I never really thought Yellow Hybrid needed to go away. Like it could play the long game. It was a good deck. But when you look at Yellow after Yellow Hybrid, I mean, ugh. And don't get me wrong, like you have security control, that deck's always going to be around, always going to top. But I just feel like the unnecessary hit to Yellow Hybrid kind of created this weird meta where the decks that weren't going to be so strong
became super strong,
insanely powerful because Yellow Hybrid wasn't
so
keep in check.
It's just dumb, bro. Like, let's just all right. I'm looking at the ban list here. Let's look at the cards that were banned. August. Jet Sylphie and the
issue is that like as we're gonna go over the ban list you're about to do, if you remember a lot of what Bandai said, because Bandai gave like reasons for everything. A lot of it was,
I'll read it.
Community, like community, not really community complaining, but it was essentially what they were saying. They were like, people were saying this is not fun, and so that's what I think. As in Mike was saying, that we're kind of putting ourselves in a corner because we keep saying, "Oh, this is not fun. This is not fun. This doesn't allow a fun environment," and we're in this weird situation where, like, now we're banning cards. You know, people were talking about banning Melga, right? So what happens when you ban Melga? Grandis becomes a thing.
Grandis,
What happens when you
110%.
you ban Grandis by, I don't know, banning something. I don't know what you would ban from that deck at the moment, but like, well, promo Grand Quaggas, that's the one that causes the issue, really, if you think about
I
it.
feel like
But then if we put ourselves in this weird ass cycle where it just keeps happening, where now you're just like the next deck is up, and then that deck becomes overly too powerful because everything else has been super checked, you know. So this causes a weird environment which we're happening right now, I think.
I think it's not just a problem with like the players; it's also just a problem with Bandai. Like,
I think they're a little out of touch with what.
Oh my
like,
goodness,
what should have
yes.
been hit and what needed to be hit. Like when I think
not even.
I think about Yellow Hybrid, right? I always think that like what they did to Blue Hybrid was the perfect hit in my opinion. Like they hit Tom, right? I think they should have just hit the Tamers for the hybrid decks. I think that was the solution in my opinion. You know, like hitting the Tamers seemed like the logic right there. Was, I don't know, for me.
All right.
And then I think about like Shoutmon. I think they hit the nail on the head with Shoutmon. Like X4 was the card that needed to go, but I think that they hit Shoutmon at the wrong time.
Agreed.
In my opinion, like I love this game, but it was a little disrespectful for them to wait until after the set had released by like a week.
Nah.
And 2 weeks later, hey, you can't play Shoutmon.
Nah, straight up. It's like I'm a Bandai fanboy for sure. It's not a little disrespectful. It's disrespectful. It's dirty, and it's just downright trash.
Oh yeah,
of a company to when we thought like we all were like, oh my goodness, like look at how cool Bandai is. Like they're gonna ban these cards. At the time it was MDF and Eismon. We're like, cool, they're gonna ban these cards, but they're not gonna ban it until like a month. Or I think until we got the next set, essentially, right? We knew they were going to hit them.
Well, they didn't ban MDF till BT7, so they let us have it for all of BT6, but we knew
all of
it was going to
BT6
be hit, yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
So we knew it was going to be hit, and we also knew that Eismon was going to be hit, and Savior, but we didn't have to, go through what we just did. We thought that Bandai was doing something good, and we're like, yeah, like this is really cool. And then Bandai comes out, and honestly, they really shat on us as a community. Like,
yeah, it was.
They really shat on their player base.
Annoying. And I also think that, so again, like my main problem with them hitting Shaman like that, or hitting any deck, like people want cards of Black War Greymon X to be hit before release or like on release,
which is kind of crazy.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, but like my issue with that is loops back to what I said earlier. We don't know how these decks are going to perform in America. Our metas are so different to Japan. I just feel like it's not fair for us, right? Because when Shaman was out in Japan, a lot of the Asian countries, they like Melga was banned still. Like not banned, but the promo Garurumon was banned.
Yes.
We don't know how really what the meta would have been like here. I mean, I think Melga is still really strong. It's just as fast as Shoutmon. Like it might not have been so bad here.
And honestly, it might have been a 50-50 split. And frankly, I'll take a 50-50 split between a 100% split any day.
100%. And that, and you think about it, right? Like, so if Shoutmon ends up not being so bad here because Melga, then when Black War Greymon X comes here and BT11, what happens then? I think that makes it an even better split, right? We don't know what our metas would have looked like because these bans happened so prematurely.
Yes.
But I think that a lot of the hate towards Black War Greymon X right now is a little wild to me. Again, we don't know how the deck's going to perform, but also this deck was kind of supposed to be the deck that was supposed to come in and stop the horror of Shoutmon, I feel like, and we won't really know how it's going to be because Shoutmon's not going to be at full power. I think that the new Shoutmon cards are really strong, but we'll see what happens.
All right.
I think also, in that same type of meta, a lot of people were talking about making like Black War Greymon as that counter because it was just obvious for BT10, right? Because I know I was talking about, I was like, I'm gonna put the the new Megadramon, not new, but I think it was the BT9 version Megadramon that pops play cost 3 tamers when attacking and when digivolving as an inheritable. And then you obviously have Black or Greymon. So you just never know if Black or Greymon would have been the perfect counter. It may have not been the perfect counter for Melga. It just probably would have been like a triangle. How I think a lot of our metas been like a revolving like rock paper scissors type of thing. But then you also have Alphamon. You also have Grandis. Grandis would have still done its thing regardless. And same thing with Alphamon. So I think it would have made a diverse meta, honestly. But again, we never know because X4 got hit to 1 and also Sunrise Buster got hit to 1. So we just never know how that would have turned out, unfortunately.
Honestly, I always forget about the Sunrise Buster hit too.
Probably the most important card because
I think that was a justifiable hit. That card's really
oh my goodness, yes.
It's kind of crazy.
5 cost? Yes, 110%.
Yeah, but you know what? Now I feel like everything has pretty good 5 cost removal. I mean, Hades Force is cracked.
Megadeth.
Megadeth is
7.
cracked.
It's 7.
No.
Anybody.
No. It's a 5 cost.
It's 5 cost. Let's be honest.
It's 5 cost. It's gonna wipe your memory tamer. It's gonna leave you at 2 memory, and you're not gonna have any respawns. How do I know? Dan's done it to me.
Yo, I see that big old 7 in that left corner. What are y'all talking about?
Okay, Daniel.
No.
All right.
Reading the card explains the card.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
Hades Force is cracked. Straight up.
Oh yeah, not as bad as Sunrise Buster was insane. Although I will say I was a little upset about the Sunrise Buster hit. It did kind of.
I think people were overreacting to it though.
Yeah.
After playtesting a lot, that's the type of card it had. Like you have to be up. You have to be already like established to get the full value of it. I understand, it's kind of easy. Greymon X, Evo for 2 into your Metal Greymons, Evo for 3 Metal X, then you go into one of your Black War Greymon Megas and stuff. But what happens when that dies? That card becomes a dead card in your hand, which me and Varni have done a lot of playtests. I'll be like, yo, I got this dead card in my hand. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, Hades, well, what am I supposed to do with this when I have no board? So it's a card where you need to be up and be already established to do it. If you don't, let's say if that Black or Greymon dies because of some other reason, it's not gonna bring you back. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like people are like overvaluing like what it can do, but it's still a very, very busted card at the same time. It's very weird saying that, you know what I'm saying?
Do you think it's more of like a I mean,
it's
obviously
a power play.
For option cards, right? It's one of those things where like I'd say 75-80% of the time I'm playing a high cost option card like that, I don't even ever want to see it in my hand, right? You always want that insecurity. I mean, Hades Force
but
is
that
more different though because you can attack
in your hand. Yeah,
no, forget about the attacking. It's the fact that it wipes tamers.
Oh yeah,
it's the tamers effect part.
That's like other than Chaos Mode and Black War Grey, which have been effects on Digimon and Zort Defeat. It's the first option removal we've had for Tamer ever. And it's not
is that true? What does all delete say?
Okay.
Nah, that's true. That's
all
true.
Right, that's
Technically,
second. But all delete has a severe repercussion because it's 10 cost. You're returning an Omnimon to your hand, and you're wiping field. No. I'm just saying like that's all delete's balance. Hades Force, even though you need to have a Black or Grey on field, or you need to have something on field. Hades Force, in Examon, I run 3 Tamers, 3 Davis, and the most I'll ever establish for myself is 1, maybe 2 Davis. And I'm okay with a Davis getting popped by a Black or Grey, because I expect it. I'm okay with that in Jesmon. I don't have Tamers in Jesmon. But when you start talking about decks like Cross Hearts, like it's such a hard counter that there's almost no coming back from it. Like Dexmon, and people are lobbying for Dexmon's ban, and it's fun.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's another one. I just don't. I think that's.
I don't agree either.
I don't agree with it because I think you can recover from it more so than you can recover from Hades Force.
I don't even care about recovering from it, but that is a card that keeps meta decks in check. I mean, you don't have to be running a meta deck to run Dexmon, right? And that is just a hard counter to so many decks. It's an easy out. I mean, I know people don't like how much it costs, and I think that that's the real issue, right? If you look at the people, this is
yes. Say it, Mike. Say it, Mike.
But if you look at the people lobbying for a ban on Dexmon, it's never because of what its effect does. It's because of how much money it costs. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Every single person I've seen complain about that card is like, it's too expensive.
I want it hit so that I can get it cheaper. Okay,
It's a good card. It's going to cost a lot of money. So.
Okay, broke boy. If that's the way you feel, then why don't you take yourself and go play Pokemon where you can build meta decks for $50 or less?
And don't get me wrong.
We're just spitting hot fire right now.
Bro, it gets me so agitated.
He's getting crazy. But like, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I love Jank. Jank is like my stuff. And you don't need to run it either. Like, you don't need to run Dexmon. But does it keep meta decks in check? Does it keep every deck in check? Yes.
I would say like 70% of deck, 70-80%.
I mean, dude, you keep Blackmore Greymon X in check with it. I mean,
kind of.
Well, you gotta think, if they're playing Cool Boys, if they're playing the new Tamer, I mean, let's say they have a Cool Boy Tamer and the Blackmore Greymon field, that's 3, and you might not get the Digivolve off, but you're still, pressure on the board.
In my testing with Dan, every deck that I've played against Dan, except Jesmon, has had Dexmon in some way. And I've always had it in hand, and I've been able to play Dexmon for 5. The problem is knowing that the moment that you drop Dexmon, it's gone. Like, it's not worth dropping, because you'll get the Digivolve on the Black or Gray. It'll go down to level 5. But then they'll either go back into a Black or Gray X, or worse, they'll go into Guilemon and swing over you. Because they can swing over
I always have the quick response when that's the type of situation happens.
Like, unless they have
it's
4 Tamers on
obviously, right?
Yeah.
Was that 4 is 12? Yeah, and then a Digimon, so that's 15. Play for 5.
Yeah, exactly. You want to play it for 5, and then do something else. Like, you don't want to end turn just playing that, because it's not valuable. It never has been for me. Playing with Dan,
especially I'm playing like the red version, so like to me the red version it's more aggro because you get a lot of DP boosting going on. So like I ain't gonna say that. I'm just gonna say
it's the better version.
It's the more aggro version.
It's definitely
and you easily can get like 16k and just swing over. All right, cool. Thanks. I just rebuild, and now because you forced me to Digivolve, sometimes I could activate Yuya again and then get the protection or just the 2k boost. Because Yuya is a beautiful card I love very much that you can play in Machinimon also. Future reference.
This guy. Now, I mean, I agree, but it still does keep decks in check. I mean,
it keeps decks in check.
Right, that extends, even if that's all you can do, like, that extends your turn a little bit longer. It helps you out as much as it can, right?
Yeah, against something like Examon, it's like, ha, because unless they have another Examon in hand, what are you going to do? And just a spoiler for you guys, if you guys, play Examon, and you are playing with 3 Examon, I'm sorry, but you're not playing the deck right. You should be playing 4. Just putting that out there.
I hope that every single list that tops the Nationals is playing with 3.
I would hope so too, so that I can not call myself the best Examon player in the world anymore. Well,
is that it? You call
Whoa yourself? There, buddy!
I think one topped the regional last.
Didn't someone win a regional?
Yeah,
no,
Ultimate Cup.
Nope, it was Ultimate Cups, and the difference is mulligans. If we're talking about official tournament circuits in terms of who's playing with mulligans and who's going to nationals, I would have potentially made it to nationals with Examon no mulligans, baby. I'm taking that to the grave with me.
This man, whose man's is this? Mike, whose man's is this over here?
Not me.
Nah, but okay. Before we go on,
Examon player. All jokes aside, he is a very good Examon player, and I think Examon players play wrong in the sense of maybe way too aggro than it should be because of all the unsuspending. And I think just based off my playing testing against Giovanni, he plays in a more defensive manner, and I think that's probably the more correct way of playing it.
I appreciate that. The biggest thing about playing Xmon is everybody's in such a rush to get into Xmon that they forget that Slayer Dramon is your first priority. And the reason that Slayer Dramon is your first priority is if you rush Slayer Dramon out before they establish literally anything, you basically win the game because you have evade. If on a god stack of Slayer, obviously you have evade, so you can't be deleted. You're gonna unsuspend when you evade, so you're gonna be able to double evade essentially. You are going to force them to attack, whether it's into your security and you get advantage from a tamer or a core Dramon, or they die, or you block it. All of that's advantage, and that's number one. Some people are in such a rush, they'll be like, all right, here's 6 memory, I have Xamon. Against Bloom Lord, GG's. You lost yourself the game, buddy. Like, you want to establish Xamon because of the unsuspend, but you got to be careful about how you do it because High Dressy will... the High Dressy is powerful, that's all I'll say about that. But that's besides the point. Let's not go off on that tangent. Xamon's for a different podcast. There's like 4 things that I want to touch on. Number 1, Bandai's lack of future sight for game design. Number 2, how Bandai realizes where they messed up and how they try to fix it. Number 3, broke people complaining that they can't afford Dexmon. I'm sorry if you are one of those people and you complain, just know that I have nothing against you as a person. That is just how I think. You know, time's rough for all of us. You're playing a card game. It is what it is. Don't boost it up to be more than what it is. And number 4, OTK, and the beast that both the community and Bandai simultaneously created. So I'll just try to touch on each one like quickly so we don't dwell on it too long. Number 1, looking at the ban list, Bandai created their own problems. Like Argomon and HPD, when those came out, super powerful cards early in the game. It is like, for sure, those cards need to be hit. Reinforcing, Dan and I looked at that card when it was coming out. We knew that card was going to be busted, and it was. Agreeable hit. Ice Wall, agreeable hit. Mega Digimon Fusion, agreeable hit. Now we start getting into Digimon or cards, I should say, that didn't need to be hit. Savior. The problem with Savior isn't Savior itself. The problem is when you start giving decks, and this is going to feed into the third problem that we have, when you start giving decks that unsuspend Sec +1. Gabu Bond, as powerful as it was, they unsuspended 3 times, but they only did 1 check each time. Okay, that's fine. When people started playing the red package in it and they put Lightning Joust on Gabu Bond, that's a problem. But it's okay because you have to run a red tamer and you have to have the option card. So that means you have to have memory, you have to establish a tamer before you can do all those shenanigans. So even if Gabu Bond is swinging 3 times 2 checks each, that's fine because you had to, decrease your consistency adding all these extra cards just to get Sec +1. Red inherently has that problem because of Sec +1 Greymon. You know how you fix that problem? You say Sec +1 Greymon is now, if this Digimon has Greymon in its name, it gains Sec +1. And then, frankly, you can unlimit, well, I don't know about any more because they printed the Jesmon. And preface, Bandai does DBS, and DBS is like ridden with erratas and bans and limits and everything. Like, you could tell that DBS was their first successful game. I know they've had a couple in the past, but like DBS has been running for how many years then? Maybe like 6?
Sounds about right. I don't know.
DBS a while, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's been out a while, and DBS has had cards like straight up errataed into the ground, like super powerful cards that just get completely nerfed with an errata. They've rewritten the entire text to make it not even be like, well, if it has, no, it's just been straight up rewrites, bans and limits to 1, limits to none. Like, that's DBS. And I know with Digimon, like they're trying to stay away from that for as long as they can, which is why they would never errata Greymon to be if this Digimon has. So I think that's why instead of doing that, yeah, they limit Savior, and instead they give us the new Jesmon from the starter deck that gains Sec +1. So even if you have this limited to one Savior, it's only going to get Sec +1 with that one card in your, or sorry, it's only going to swing unsuspend with Sec +1 on that one card in your 50 card deck. And if you decide to play Sec +1 Greymons, you have decreased your consistency because none of your pieces in the deck, except Red Memory Boost, searches out that Greymon.
Yeah.
So
I'll be honest. I mean, imagine if they didn't hit Savior. Even with like, I would be playing 4-star deck Greymons in that deck still.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The inherent problem is that because you can, you will, and it's not wrong. It's just if you can put Sec +1 on suspend and swing 2 more checks, effectively wiping 4, no effort. Yeah, hell yeah, do that. All the power to you. That's what made it powerful back in the day. That's what I'm saying. To fix that problem, you need to take away the easy access to Sec +1 by limiting Greymon to just be a tribal Sec +1. But they didn't do that, and that's why we got the new Jesmon. That's fine. Eismon came at a time where, and this is another problem, I don't know why Bandai doesn't implement what's called a Limit 1. For those of you who play DBS, you'll know what this means. Limit 1 means you can only activate one copy of this effect across all copies of a card for that turn. So Eismon, what you would do is you would swing Scatter Mode on a Gabumon Demi-Meramon stack. You're drawing 6, trashing, what's that, 4 cards, I think? 3, 2, 1,
yeah.
and then 2, 1, 1. Yeah, you're drawing 6 and trashing 4, and if you have 3 Eismon in hand, you're just going to trash all 3 Eismon, because all 3 Eismon are going to replay themselves.
Heck
and now
yeah, I was enjoying myself back then playing that deck.
Dan knows what it is exactly. And now you have 3 Digimon for nothing, just for playing your archetype. Not that that's a problem, but it becomes a problem when you don't have cards like Dex, and you don't have cards like Crimson Blaze at the time. And now we do. And do I think that Eismon should come off the ban list? I think it's something that's worth exploring. I hated playing against it, but I'm not going to let my personal feelings say that Eismon shouldn't come off the list. It's just that's something that, gets better with time. But then we move on, and then we come to the Jet Sophie and the Tommy ban, which, as Dan mentioned earlier, let me read why you banned Tommy. Paraphrase, this ultimately limits the gameplay experience and causes frustration. Jet Sophie, decks that use this card, this is such a cop-out response because of the response they gave on Tommy, but decks that use this card have dominated the metagame for longer than anticipated, greatly limiting viable decks in yellow. Hogwash. Mike said it.
I got a question.
We all know it.
Question.
Yeah, good.
What yellow deck? What yellow deck after yellow hybrid was good? Question mark.
I mean, that's the issue. But I think, they'll say that security controls the yellow deck, but is it really? I mean,
no.
It's a hybrid deck.
Right, but I think that they kind of box themselves in with yellow in general. And I feel like yellow is kind of only going to ever be like a security control type of archetype.
Yes, agreed. Until there's something,
Honestly, look at what they did to LKM. I thought we were getting LKM support. I was like, we're getting LKM. All the releases have been Lucemon purple support.
Yeah. I mean, Kentorismon is nice. I'm hoping that it turns out to be at least a viable deck like Examon status, because it has a powerful effect. It just seems like it might be missing like that one thing to take it to that level,
I think also like because they did Lord Nightmon at the time, and Lord Nightmon was so crazy powerful in comparison to other decks, they're scared to like give yellow that same type of like aggressive type of playstyle while recovering, or like using your security as a thing.
That was kind of disgusting.
They would have like the Angel Woman. So it was like if you have 3 or more, 3 or less, whatever it was, play a rookie. Then you have Lord Nightmon play a rookie. So like you just like forward form like crazy, and plus Lord Nightmon could play an ultimate. Hey, what can you do after that? Go into another Lord Nightmon, you know? So I think maybe Bandai, because you keep mentioning before, like Bandai is like keeps like, you know, trying to fix things or whatever, and then they put themselves in a weird situation. Now Yellow has become this like, I don't
Yellow
know,
has
like
become what it is, which is nothing.
I don't like exactly
nothing.
like without
For what
Yellow
it is.
Hybrid. Without Yellow Hybrid, it's really become like meh, like fun decks, I guess you could say.
And
Like
let's
probably
talk about like
the next competitive decks as Yellow is not even Yellow and Sean Greymon probably, right? Like I don't even know what's next in BT11 that's Yellow. Sukuma, you want to count it because it's half black, half yellow, but I wouldn't even consider that a yellow deck, you know?
But like, and so then the next question becomes
Mastermon is
Mastermon.
another, you know, but that's really purple. A lot of times they're purple based. So I don't know. It's a weird situation when it comes to yellow.
Well, so let's talk about like why Yellow Hybrid had such a big impact. And it's because in terms of like when you consider at the time, Blue Hybrid was basically stop you from blocking me, and I'm gonna stun everything so you can't attack me, and then I'm gonna swing into your security 1,001 times. They also had
was awful.
They also had the best dual tamer in the game. They still do, Sora and Joe, because in terms of things that are preventable, Sora and Joe has the best condition to fulfill in that regard. And that's what made Blue Hybrid so powerful.
And it has an awesome one attack. Like he can to trash one attacking is insane. Great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so that's Blue Hybrid. How do decks keep up with that? And what other I don't remember what other decks were topping at the time.
Back in Blue Hybrid, I don't care what anyone says. Blue Hybrid, in my opinion, was a tier 0 deck. There was not much topping. It was Blue Hybrid and some Yellow Hybrid. And
I think it was Blue and Yellow, and that was probably it. And then come BT8,
and BT7. Yeah, that was. I mean, Blue Hybrid was terrible, and then BT8 came out. People stopped playing Blue Hybrid for like I don't know a month.
Yeah,
and then everyone realized they were like, "Wait, this deck is actually just insane."
No. That was EXO2 that happened. That happened with EXO2.
What were they playing in Oh yeah, because everybody was on the Imperial train. But we only got BT8 like a month before EXO2.
Right. The starter decks came out around the same time as EXO2, and like everybody was like, "Hey, where's Blue Hybrid? Blue Hybrid, you know?" And then all of a sudden, one top, and then I was like, "Well, it never left. It was always a great deck." Damn, you know?
Yep. Yeah. So like looking at all of that, like the question is, how does Yellow, or how do other decks, not Yellow yet, how do other decks keep up with it? And the counter was that you don't. The only deck that could keep up was Yellow Hybrid, and the only reason that they could was because of the constant recovery, but also the easy establishing of level 6s. Like when I played Yellow Hybrid, you know, it was obviously constant recovery, but like one of my key level 6s was Dynasmon, because when you talk about, okay, if you're going to stun me so that I can't attack, I need something that gives me passive advantage. The one Digimon that does that in Yellow is Dynasmon. Anytime security is removed and you're at 3 or less, you recover 1. So it's effectively as if you're at +1 security for the turn, which against something like Blue Hybrid was super potent. It just so happens that there are just times that Blue Hybrid gets more advantage than you get as Yellow Hybrid. And again, they stun you. And that was just, like they said, it was super frustrating. Tommy was an extremely overtuned card. The only way that I don't even know how, I don't think you fix Tommy. Like, there's nothing that I can think of that makes Tommy any better to play. Because the on play is disgusting, the trash 3 evolution. The one attacking is even worse. Like, I'd rather have him keep the on play and get rid of his one attacking, but then you completely nerf the card. So it's like, how do you fix it? I don't think you do. I think this leads me to another point. Bandai realized where they went wrong with hybrids. And if you guys look at Red Hybrid in BT12, it fixed it. And I think they fixed it in a very good way. And they restricted the effects to only come on top of a Takuya Tamer. So in BT12, we're getting a new Takuya Tamer. So we have 2 Takuya Tamers now to play. You have a bunch of Red Hybrid rookies that you can still play. And your effects only proc if you have I'm pretty sure if they're on top of Takuya or if they're on top of the Agunimon / Burning Greymon combo. And if you look at something like Blue Hybrid, like I don't think that would have made it better. Like again, because Tommy is just severely overtuned. Korikakumon would proc on top of a hybrid or Tommy, I think. Yeah. But something like Jet Sylphie, like I agree, Jet Sylphie was a problem, but it was a problem of necessity kind of thing. And you could limit, if, as Mike said, if they limited Zoe, I think the deck would be a lot less. It would still top for sure, not that it currently doesn't. But now you don't have. Now you're effectively forced to play 4 TKs. That's going to be your Zoes, because Zoe was 4/3. You get to search out any hybrid and take it. Now you got to play TK, who cost 4. It doesn't have an inherited. Not that the inherited kind of matters. But now you also don't get the Zephyrmon, because Zephyrmon only procs on a hybrid or Zoe. And yeah, you kind of just nerf it a little bit. I think if Jet Sylphimon only procced on Zoes, it would have been a lot less of a problem. Because the fact that I can play, 12 Tamers and Digivolve on 2 cost TKs up into Jet Sylphie and recover and establish a level 6 is kind of disgusting. I would definitely agree with that. But then we start getting into the latest ban, which was all of Calling, Sunrise, Doru Grey, and Cross 4. And out of all those hits, Doru Grey got slaughtered for nothing. Not necessarily nothing, but...
You think Doru Grey got slaughtered for nothing?
I said not necessarily nothing.
I think
I feel like that's a pretty hot take.
It is a hot take. And because when we talk about bans, right? Was anybody over here lobbying for Doru Greymon to be hit? I don't think so.
If anything got hit, it was definitely Doru Greymon.
But from Japan's perspective, right?
Right. I don't think Alphamon should have got hit so fast for us, but I think it was gonna happen regardless.
If it was gonna happen, that's fine. But to Mike's point, when Mike talks about decks over here don't perform the same as they do in Japan, Alphamon was not doing anywhere near what it was doing in Japan. And that's because of the yellow hybrid hit, making Melga just the beast that it was, but also the fact that Japan didn't have, or not Japan, all of Asia didn't have access to the Were Garuru promos, so the deck just effectively was a sleeper deck over there that came over here and just did its thing. Does a deck deserve to be hit? And I guess this leads us into the next point of the conversation. Does a deck deserve to be hit even if it doesn't top? Like, consistently like that? Or does a deck deserve to be hit if it does top consistently?
I'm pretty sure Alphamon was topping every event. Was it winning every event? No, but it was definitely topping every event though.
Well, if we could go and look at the representation, and we could see Melga far out represent Alphamon in the tops.
No, I know I'm saying, but it was still topping. It was at least guaranteed 2 out of times.
But Melga's also way
top
cheaper
16
deck.
It's the what, Mike? You said
way cheaper deck when you think about it. Doesn't require a secret rare, and I think
that's fair.
Alpha played 3 secret rares?
Yeah,
4 secret rares.
Or you can, yeah.
If you're playing the old BT7 Alpha, some people were. That's 4 secret rares basically.
Sometimes 5 if they're playing the decks.
Yep. So, I mean, cost as well goes into that. I also think that Melga's way more consistent. But, Alpha was one of those decks where there was no winning no matter what. If they had their if they had their cards in their hand, you weren't winning that game.
It's the same concept what you're saying about Jessamine, the unsuspend and Sec +1. Or 100%. you can mode those on 100% unsuspended. 2 checks every time. So and then they were able to do that, and they were able to do that multiple times with protection.
So yeah, agreed. On that point, then hell yeah, no. Then it does make me change my mind on Doru Grey as a hit. That's for sure.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good point.
And you gotta think about it, Alphamon has the ability to put even more Doru Greys underneath.
Exactly my point.
Yeah, you're right.
If
You guys are right.
Jessamon doesn't get to tuck another card
Dora
underneath
Gray.
the security attack
Facts.
+1. Jessamon had to get there with a tie on the field that costs 4 to play, and then had to somehow unbrick your hand into a god stack.
Nah, you guys are right. Yeah, I'll eat my words on that one. I forgot that the whole premise of Alpamon is unsuspending. But okay, Dorgray, that's a fine hit. Don't think it needed to be hit immediately when it did, but same thing with Cross 4. Sunrise, we already talked about.
Good card. Good card.
Busted.
Yeah, I mean, we just really don't know how these decks sort of came out. And honestly, maybe it's for the better that they hit those cards than they did. Maybe it would have just been a miserable format. A lot of people stopped playing Digimon in Japan because the formats were so miserable. So, but I just don't know if it would have worked out that way here.
Shaman was arguably like closest thing to like tier 0 over there for them too.
Yep.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep. Your mic
changed your
sounds
mic?
way different now. Yeah.
Yeah, because my computer literally is rebooting right now.
Oh,
Nice.
weird.
Lovely start to this podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was the last thing you heard me say?
Are we still recording?
Yeah, because it's on Discord that it's recording.
Okay. We were saying how Sunrise Buster was busted, and then we said Shaman. Shaman was like almost tier 0 in Japan, and that's why a lot of people were like quitting Japan and stuff.
Agreed.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens in the future with Blackmore Gray, if they're gonna hit it. My concern is that if they do hit it, that they might hit it right after Nats. And I really hope that Bandai has the foresight to not screw US players over again with an immediate ban like that. I just think that would be asinine and just totally uncalled for and disrespectful if they hit that deck like 2 weeks after release again. But we'll definitely see what happens. We've talked about this a lot of times in our group chats for Digimon. You never know what the hell Bandai is gonna hit. I swear they close their eyes and just point at a list and take stuff from decks. Because I feel like most of the times they've hit cards, it's been cards I've been like, man, they could have hit another card and not murdered the deck. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The great debate I feel like right now is what would they hit from Blackboard Gray X? Because that's what everyone seems to be talking about. Oh, you need to hit Cool Boy. Oh, you need to hit X Antibody. Oh, you need to hit the new Greymon X Antibody. I mean, debates all over the place. I will see what happens, I guess.
Well,
yeah, I would. I know y'all probably saw or maybe heard of it. Mario had dropped a video about this, topic, right? And I agree for the most part what he was saying. I'm sure our viewers, they probably saw his video, whatever. Like he went into like detail about each card, like in the Greymon deck. Like, does Greymon X need to be hit? That's probably the only card I would say that quote unquote, if anything were to get hit from the Greymon cards, which I don't think any of them should get hit, is that one. For the fact of future proofing, because we have a Metal Greymon coming out in BT12 that's going to be a 1 cost, which is going to be crazy. And the protection is super crazy, right? But like again, I don't think that should get hit. I don't think Metal Greymon X is like overly powerful, but it's good. I don't think it needs to get hit. Black or Greymon X don't need to get hit. I think if people need to hit things, and again, I would agree with him when he said Cool Boy. Cool Boy is probably the most generic X antibody card out there, and kind of that card. The crazy part is so great. But at the same time, some of these decks don't even need it. Like, how many times have we played against Melga, and Melga just wins without a Cool Boy? So, I don't know. It's weird. I don't think X Antibody should get hit because that's the whole point of these X Antibody decks, honestly. I just think, again, we're in a weird situation, especially with X Antibody cards costing free. And that's what's the issue, I think. I think the mechanic of the X Antibody evoing for free is what's like the more problematic but we can't really fix that at this point. So what do we hit to fix it? It's weird.
That literally is the problem of why I say Bandai has just terrible game design. Like, who didn't think that giving Greymon and Garurumon decks protection against options and battle respectively, just by having double source, and then also having the X antibody with the when attacking, and just the entire, like, we knew, if you guys ever watched if you ever watched the X Evolution movie.
Great movie.
Like, if you ever watch that, like, you'd know.
He has
Really
two
one, yeah.
graphics, but yeah.
It's
Heck
weird,
yeah.
but like, you would see like just how powerful these X Digimon are, and so, like, rightfully so, these Digimon in the TCG are powerful, but the concept of what they do for game balance is horrible, because in the movie they completely wiped out. Well, not the Digimon themselves, but Yggdrasil had effectively completely wiped out all Digimon, and only the Digimon with the X antibody survived. And in a way, that is essentially what the current game
What's
scene has
happening
become.
now, right?
It's
That's what our meta's become,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the issue is it is just so ridiculously strong to go raising rookie, X antibody rookie for free again on top of my rookie. That's
for an extra draw.
Yep.
And sometimes get a search off like Gabumon X or Agumon X.
Yep, sure. And then, all right, cool. Play into a champion, a nice level 4, boom. Pass turn comes back to me. Raise, cool boy. Draw twice. One for Digivolve. Again into another level 4 that costs 0. And then draw off cool boy. And then just keep going. Gain memory. It's just a lot. It is strong. You're gaining so much advantage. I mean, if you're drawing, you're winning. Thinning is winning, right? Thinning your deck.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right? You're just
Definitely.
gaining so much advantage compared to some of these decks that don't have access to X antibody. And I mean, the issue is that balancing. I mean, I think like Black War Greymon, right, in its current state, is like the ultimate combination of a tribal deck. It is all of the best cards for Greymon that have come out every single set since BT1. Since before BT1, since the starter decks, right? It's every best Greymon ever. And now it is just so strong and people are annoyed. And I think that a lot of it is annoyance because people most people aren't big Greymon fans. We get a new Greymon, I think, every single set. So
Almost,
the deck
yeah.
is just in constant support. And there's a lot of people that are mad, I think, about that too, because there's a lot of really good decks that don't see support. And I think that people...
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just how it is. But, people have to realize, like, Greymon is, it's like...
Poster child.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Charizard.
That's
It's gonna get
the Pikachu, the Charizard of Pokemon, definitely.
Yeah, but I don't know. I if the deck ends up being so miserable to play against, I do hope they hit it. I just don't hope they hit it prematurely.
Yeah, agreed. I just don't think there's a way to fix the monster that they've created, frankly.
No. I mean, like I said, it's just the perfect combination. It's literally perfect cell.
So Grandma's the perfect combination, but like Dan said, like, Melga doesn't need Cool Boy. It helps. It's a consistency booster for sure. But yeah, how many times do you see Melga win without Cool Boy? And that's just because of what Melga's X antibody line does.
Yeah, I mean, Melga doesn't really need anything.
Exactly.
If Melga can kill so fast because it only needs an ultimate.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's
then
what's crazy about Melga, though.
War Gray's problem. I mean, War Gray, like, for as powerful as War Gray is beatable. I think War Gray is a pain in the ass deck to face against, but that's not to say that it's like overtuned or anything. I think War Gray X is like is probably the best example of of what the X antibody deck should be. It might be sticky to get rid of.
No, I agree.
But-
I think you're completely right about that. I think War Gray X is like the perfect deck. Like, hey, tribal OTK deck. This is what this deck has always been known for and used for, and let's just make it a little bit better. That was perfect. I think War Gray X is probably the most fair of all of the X antibody decks, which is kind of wild to think about.
And I would say that Black War Gray X would be also a fair deck, but from playing with Dan, my honest problem is I think Greymon X is the perfect card with the ability, in that it requires you to put the X antibody under, so you only get one chance to protect. I think that's amazing. The problem is that I have with it. I mean, I'm okay with Yuya. I can come to grips with Yuya, and I can come to grips with Metal Gray X, and I can come to grips with Black War Gray X. I just don't think that you needed to give it a cost reduction. I think giving it cost reduction was just overtuned.
That's the issue, and I think that Bandai's logic there was like, oh, Melga kills so fast. How do we make a big stack deck compete with it? We need to give it a cost reduction. That's what I think Bandai was thinking. But in that same sense, I mean, look at Grandis, right? Grandis has its own kind of cost reduction because it doesn't play 2 cost to Digivolve stuff, you know? I mean, when all level 4s in most Grandis decks are one cost to Digivolve.
Yeah.
Level 5s, I mean, 3 costs, but when you suspend, you gain your memory back.
No, actually, Okuamon, if they're playing Okuamon, I think about Okuamon's only a 2 cost.
No, that's
but that's the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there a new one to play?
The promo is 3 cost.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a... Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep. That one's 3 costs, but I think is that the one that gains you memory back? Or that,
when you suspend, right? When a Digimon becomes suspended, I think.
literally have the deck built right next to me. One sec. When this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Insectoid and its traits, all of your opponent's Digimon gain. All turns in this Digimon become suspended, lose 1 memory. So yeah. You go into the Okuamon, you go into the Okuamon X, you suspend, you gain your memory back. And then the Okuamon X has cost reduction built into it because when you Digivolve into a Insectoid, I believe, it costs 1 less. So
yeah.
I mean, like, I get what they were doing. It's just Okuamon doesn't have, or Grandis doesn't have protection, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
Gave a deck all of, like I said, it's just the perfect storm. It's a perfect combination. You gave it deck cost reduction. Exactly. You gave it a good tamer who protects himself against options.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
You gave it Digivolve protection, which is like the first we've ever had besides options.
Frankly, I don't think it needed Digivolve protection.
That was a little ridiculous. I mean,
hey, we Black War Greymon players need it all, okay? Because we've been through the hardships, the struggles.
We've been through the
Listen here, Daniel.
Buddy, I'm a reformed Greymon tribal addict, bro.
Hey, so was I. We've been through the hardships, okay? Black War Greymon didn't even have his own deck. It was just a secret rare out there, and then did nothing. And then
actually, that's a dirty lie. You had a whole line to support you. It may not have been the best line, but it was a line.
And then we got a line all the way in BT8, an actual Black War Greymon line, and the deck still didn't do the greatest, right? Because we had hybrids running around, even though it could pop tamers, blah 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 blah, right? Then we got BT9 Galmon, and then that's when we saw, Black War Greymon players, topping and stuff, because Galmon was just the perfect card for the perfect deck of
say it right,
which added the aggro. What?
No, say it right. It wasn't just Biomon. You got an entire X antibody line to inadvertently support Black War Grey.
Facts.
You're right.
Because people were still playing the black base, and it wasn't until you guys were like, oh shit, we can use red base, and you were like, well, why weren't we doing this from the door?
No, 100%. But because Greymon X, the old one just says Greymon, just like the new one, and for whatever reason, Bandai does not like to give Digimon that color name. So like Black Greymon, that's always been a thing. So I don't know why they didn't just name him Black Greymon, and all this thing would have been solved.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
It's very weird how they choose when to put the colors on their names or not, but that's a different story for a different time. But yeah, so we want to be powerful out here. We want to feel the power that Melga players feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Like I said, yeah, I think Mike hit it on the head. It's the perfect. It is
No, yeah, it is.
the culmination of the perfect deck. It has control. It has aggression. It has protection. It has cost reduction. It has search. Like, the only way
Not at
you
all.
lose is by. How do you lose, Dan?
Getting swung over.
Getting swung over, yeah.
For piercing 3 checks, unsuspend, swing another 3 checks. Oh, you can't respawn? All right, game next turn.
And that brings me right back to the point. I think number one, how they fix. I don't think anything should get banned right now. Do not. I want to see how Nationals turns out. I want to see what tops and what doesn't. And for the health of the game, not for any other reason currently, but for the health of the game, I would want to see promo Kuwagamon limited to 1. And I would want to see promo Weregurumon limited to 1.
Promo Kuwag, which?
The one that gives Digiburst for Sec +1.
Oh,
promo Grand Kuwagamon.
Oh, sorry, yeah, promo Grand Kuwagamon, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't want to say all that.
I think
the reason
that's a lame ban. Promo, I mean, Grandis, you're just kicking a deck while it's down. That deck isn't.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what Dan was saying earlier. You kick Melga and what becomes the next deck? Grandis.
Yeah, but I still don't. No, because I still don't think Grandis. I mean, Grandis is just such a. Even it plays 4 green memory boosts, right? And that deck will brick on its own. Like, there's just no. That deck needs so much to win, and it doesn't. Like, the issue with Greymon, right? And the reason why that is so consistent at building a stack is because you get to play memory boosts, you get to play Tamers, you get to play Cool Boys, you get to play an Agumon that searches, and then an X antibody that searches. Like, Grandis doesn't have all that. I mean, it's got a few searchers. If you're playing the new Kuwagumon X antibody, that'll search, but I mean, besides that, it is just not as consistent. I don't know.
But that's my point. I don't think, personally, if you're not in Digimon, like, every game is different, but in Digimon, if you're not red, I don't think you should be able to OTK.
No, I don't know, because then that just boxes decks in, I think.
But exactly, and that's what we've gotten to. That's the mindset that we have. Like, War Greymon effectively can OTK, Ancient Greymon can OTK, but now Blue can OTK while they do their thing, which is control. Green can OTK while they also do their thing, which is like Suedo control, in that they wipe stuff with piercing. Yellow can OTK because yellow isn't doing anything. Yellow just does Secon, I guess. Purple had a way to. Purple has its various ways to OTK, but it's not easily achievable. And then what color am I missing? Black. Black doesn't OTK, but black is such a strong control color that it doesn't need to, or it's going to be, I should say, because of Black War Gray, which isn't solely black. It is red, played with a red base.
And it can OTK still. I think that
it still can, sure.
Should be able to OTK. I don't know. I don't think it's wrong that decks can OTK. In my opinion, I think the issue becomes when a deck can OTK and there's no out to the deck. Right?
Right.
When a deck can OTK, it's fine, but when the deck can't be deleted, like, when a stack can't be deleted, when option cards don't trigger, when it trashes on unsuspend, deletes on, it just does everything, right? I think that's the concern.
But so, like, what makes Grandis different from BT6 Jesmon?
Nothing. And I don't think that BT6 Jesmon, if you took that entire deck, right? You took BT6 Jesmon in a sandbox and brought it to the future, I think it would be the same thing as Grandis. And it would, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with Grandis. I don't think that there's anything wrong with BT6 Jesmon. The issue is that BT6 Jesmon was just ahead of its time. It was so potent at OTK in a format where there wasn't, ability to do so otherwise. I mean,
outside of Gobble Bond.
Unless you're playing Greymon Tribal or occasionally Shoutmon Tops or Gabu Bond, yeah. And even Agumon can't. I mean, yeah,
No, you say it. Agumon can't OTK and it's red.
Agumon can't, and it's red. But that was not Agumon's fault. That was the meta we were in, where people were playing Craniumon, who couldn't be deleted, and Agumon's literally entire identity. It needs to delete a Digimon to trash the community. And
Exactly.
and
then you have
Gabumon doesn't need to.
That's what I'm saying. Gabumon is just straight up. Oh, I'll swing in bottom deck level 5s. No remorse. There is nothing that protects against bottom decking.
Yeah, I mean Agumon got shafted for sure. But I think that Bandai also does this thing where they pick and choose if Gabumon or Greymon is going to be better each set.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
So I'm not really mad about it.
Those are the two poster child, so it's not too surprising.
Yeah, I don't get upset about that. But you know, I don't think that there's anything wrong with Grandis, and like I said, I don't think if you took BT6 just when I brought it here today, I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. I mean,
nah.
Look at Lord Nightmon could OTK, BT5, OKM all day. That deck was OTK City.
No, I think it's set up for the OTK. There was a little.
Yeah, I was gonna say at that time, like you said, like it was definitely ahead of its time. Like Lord Nightmare would not survive in the current format just because of not only Xmon, but just every deck having some form of removal at least level 5.
100%. I'm just saying, back in BT5, that was like the deck we had. That was it. That was the strong OTK, build a board. I mean, it did everything. You deleted Digimon when attacking, you dropping Starmons, doing everything. You were wiping fields, taking security, control, and that deck fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think we need Jet Sophimon back for a multitude of reasons.
I don't know if we need it back, but I think you're saying that because you love Yellow Hybrid.
I do love Yellow Hybrid, and that's from a completely subjective point of view, for sure. But, in trying to be objective is why I try to stay true, like you guys pointed out with Alphamon. I try to stay true to the, if a deck unsuspends, it probably shouldn't have easy access to Sec +1. And even though Grandis does search, with Green Man Boost and it may brick, it still stands to the fact that like once it gets set up, it's effectively Melga. Chasmon requires setup. Dan beat me the other day with Black or Gray, effectively by rushing me down first. And that's just kind of how you got to navigate that matchup, because there's no other way to do it. But with like something like Grandis, the only thing I can do is sit and raising until I have all the pieces that I need, because if I come out any earlier, Black Orca is going to de-digivolve swing over. So I have to be the one to come up with Grandis and swing over them. So, what is the back and forth there become?
That is another thing about Black War Gray that is just insane. The BT8 Metal Greymon just de-digivolves. That deck
for a cost of 2!
Insane.
It's a beautiful time. It's beautiful.
Crazy, man.
I'm gonna throw Daniel in a ditch.
Yeah,
it's okay.
That deck is insane.
Do it after Nats.
You better top. If you don't,
that's the plan.
I'm gonna be upset. You're gonna have to come on podcast and wear the hat of shame.
You got a hat of shame now? What are they, like a Mets hats or something?
Right.
Ooh.
Nah, it's a Ben Simmons hat.
Ben Simmons.
That's even worse.
Miami Dolphins hat. You could borrow.
Oh no.
You could borrow one of my Miami Dolphins hats. Don't worry.
Nah, but we're at an hour and a half. I think we're at a pretty good point to wrap it up. That's the podcast, y'all. That's Mike, the boy, Dan, the boy, me, the boy. Yeah, wasn't it? It's a fun time when you get to talk about this stuff and throw out all those hot takes.
Yeah, 100%. Fun.
Don't have a schedule. I'm not going to say that we have a schedule. I'm not going to say when this video when this will be up, because we're not making any promises. But we're going to try for sure. That's just going to be the main key point here. Yeah, until we talk to you guys the next time, probably, hopefully next week, but we'll see. Peace out.
See you on the next one.
Peace, peace, peace.